Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Sack here. They are saying that Lamar Odom said hi to Khloe Kardashian today, but they're being very vague about the reporting and they're saying they're not sure if he's still conscious. Before we get into this, I've got a lot of information, Truth Seeker. I think I have a theory on what happened. The Love Ranch where Lamar Odom was found unconscious, it was the owner's birthday. We're going to talk more about that. I think this is what people might refer to as an Illuminati ritual. I try to show on this channel that the Illuminati is something more specific. It is the Jesuits, it is the Zionists, it is the Masons. It is an order of secret societies that exist in high places, actively working against us with their weapons, which are the mainstream media. And these stories, they all serve a negative programming purpose, and we're going to talk about that. But what I want you to notice first is this tangent I'm about to go off on, educating about the number 102. If you're new to my channel, I talk about numerology, gematria, how the mainstream media uses it, codes it, and by learning this language behind the words, you can see what they are trying to communicate, or at least better understand it. This number 102 is very significant. On my blog, I recently just talked about this story where the New York Times released that on September 11th, there's going to be a new ritual at the Ground Zero Memorial where the World Trade Centers fell on September 11th. Each year they have a new ritual where they will open the skylights on the Ground Zero memorials they built there for 102 minutes because this is how long the terrorist attack lasted on September 11th. If you can recall, the attack was blamed on Al Qaeda, which has Jewish gematria of 102. On this video channel, I have an hour-long video on September 11th. It's a great video if you have the time. In that video, I show the Vice magazine article from 1994 that asks its audience to imagine this terrorist group, Al Qaeda, which they say is very small at the time, hijacking planes and flying them into the World Trade Centers, causing the buildings to fall to the ground. They ask their audience to think about what happens exactly 7 years later in 2001. And they introduce Al Qaeda. And lo and behold, 7 years later, the attack lasts 102 minutes, having gematria that matches up with Al Qaeda. United States of America in gematria also sums to 102 with the S exceptions. It also sums to 84 and 93, which are numbers I talked about in the story I did on Lamar Odom yesterday. If you didn't see my first post, please check that out. A lot of information there. Also, an hour and 2 minutes can be, 102 minutes can be written as an hour and 42 minutes. And 142 looks a lot like 142, the word for terrorist. On September 11th, terrorist and terrorism was redefined for Americans and shaped into something Islamic. You know? On September 11th, the Americans were told they could not find planes, but they could find box cutter knives, terrorist passports, and turbans. A picture out of dishonesty was being created from that day forth, and it's still going on. And stories, even like with what we're about to expose on Lamar Odom, are all part of this negative programming that is working against us in so many ways. So check this out, Truth Seeker. Lamar Odom is in Las Vegas with the Kardashian family. And so often I show how these stories are created by the numbers. Notice that Kardashian and Las Vegas both sum to 86. Las Vegas, Nevada sums to 133, like the word temptation. Think about temptation in Las Vegas. Everybody knows who's been there. Symbol, triangle, and pyramid all have gematria of 86. This is a very important number. It's often found around destruction. The Hiroshima bombing was on August 6th, 1945, a date with an 8-6 coding, also with a numerology of 33, another special number which we'll talk about. Notice how in CNN's reporting they emphasize right away that Odom's 35. CNN always puts numbers that are not necessary or important to the story in their article. From the beginning, this is how I figured out that numerology was important to the media, just by trying to read it and see what they are really trying to do. The day I found out gematria, a lot began to click. Besides his age of 35, they say he's at Sunrise Hospital, which really pops out. If you missed yesterday's video, he's 35 years old and brothel has a gematria of 35. There's a whole lot more to it. Please check out yesterday's video. The hospital Sunrise has a gematria of 33, a number often coded into hoaxes. Yesterday I speculated that it might be a hoax because it was reported that he was found at 330, emphasis on the 33. Sunrise also has gematria of 42, a number stamped on black people in a negative way often, and gematria 51. The word conspiracy in Pythagorean gematria is 51. This very much could be a conspiracy for the purpose of the psychological programming it wages in the many minds of the people who are invested in pop culture, such as the Kardashians and NBA basketball and its players. In the story, they also say little is now known about his condition. This comes after yesterday of them saying they knew he used cocaine, they knew he used herbal supplements, they knew he was using drugs, mixing cocktails. Yesterday, it was all this negative programming. Think about how often in the media they're trying to portray black men as womenizers, drug users, abusers. It's a very disproportionate ratio. And this story adds on to that. That's what this story's about. So, with regards to why I think this was a ritual, by the numbers, by the dates, check this out. Dennis Hoff is the owner of the Love Ranch where Lamar Odom was found unconscious. He turned 69 on the day this became a big news story yesterday, October 14th. Or 2 days ago, October 14th, excuse me. In history, on October 14th, the day of the Lamar Odom story of being found unconscious, it's also the date in history that Keeping Up with the Kardashians debuted. Think about that. What are the odds? The date, the anniversary of the show, and also the birthday of the owner. Unless they were partying really hard there, you know. But supposedly, this happened the day before on the 13th. I talked about how Lamar Odom, the name has a gematria of 38. The day he was found unconscious had a numerology of 38. Love Ranch has this gematria of 44, Truth Seeker. We're going to talk about 44 and how it's important. Love Ranch, gematria of 44. The word kill has simple English of 44. The big way, Love Ranch sums to 98. Notice in simple English gematria, ranch is another 44 word. When I think of 44 and 98, I think of the 44th day of the year. On this date, there's a festival called Lupercalia. This is February 13th, the 44th day of the year. Every year it's Lupercalia, this ancient Roman festival. Lupercalia, the small way, sums to 44. It's on the 44th day of the year. And the big way, it sums to 98. This year on this video channel, I have shown how I predicted the college basketball championship correctly off of Lupercalia. And I almost got the NBA Finals right off of Lupercalia. I predicted it would be Cavs-Warriors, but I thought the Cavs were going to win. I got it backwards. And I predicted both of these well in advance, long before they even happened. I predicted the NBA Finals before the playoffs began. Get this, Truth Seeker. Coach K's birthday, Duke, he's born on Lupercalia. They played Wisconsin, one of the only states with gematria 44. Their star player wore number 44. His birthday was April 4th. The Warriors defeated the Cavs in their 44th year of existence, and the nickname King James equals 44. Game 1 of the NBA Finals went to overtime 98-98, 98 days after the Warriors and Cavs played in the regular season, and 111 days after they met in the NBA Finals. So my point is basketball has very much been connected to this holiday, this ancient holiday, and Lamar Odom's a basketball player. I don't think it's a coincidence, this connection. The man who had the birthday that owned the Love Ranch has a life lesson number of 44 for one more 44 on the fact. From Lamar Odom's incident to Lupercalia, the upcoming one is 123 days. This is interesting to me because the word conspiracy equals 123. It's also 17 weeks and 4 days. New World Order equals 174. Interesting things, Truth Seeker. Possibly a coincidence, but probably not. Now check this out. He was at the Love Ranch South. This is a typo down here. It should say Love Ranch South equals 64 or /73. The word sacrifice has gematria of 73. But the name Odom, as I pointed out yesterday, has gematria of 6464, and this is an OD, which has gematria of 64. And Love Ranch South equals 64 for the OD for Odom. In anagrams, Lamar equals alarm, and Odom equals doom. Yesterday, I showed how there's a lot of connections to Obama as this happened on the date of the Democratic presidential debates in Las Vegas. I think there's a sign. And for another 33 truth seeker, look at this. Look at the address, 300 Appaloosa. Appaloosa has gematria of 33 and 42. This happened to Lamar 3 weeks and 3 days before his 36th birthday. Yesterday I talked about how Lamar's born on November 6th. He's almost 36. Tiny bit, they said he's in a tiny bit better shape in the reporting today. Tiny bit has gematria of 36, and his birthday is November 6th. Is it all a coincidence? Maybe. But as I continue to show, so often these stories are all synced up by the numbers, it's mind-blowing. And remember, if you sum 1 through 36, it totals 666. Also, with regards to the 44s, Chloe and Lamar met on a date with 44 numerology, and this could be the end of their relationship. Kim and Kanye West were married on the 144th day of the year. Now check this out. A lot of people are making this big deal about Lamar going on TMZ ranting about how black people are treated unfairly compared to whites. His rant is on point. It's accurate. I don't disagree with it, but I don't know how sincere it is. Notice how he has the numbers 9 and 5 stamped on him, and he's wearing a Miami Heat hat, who he used to play for. Miami Heat have gematria of 79. The word murder has gematria of 79. Lamar's born in 79. His cousin died on July 9th, 7/9. Lamar would be hurt in a bad car accident days after. With regards to 5 and 9, they are numbers stamped on black people through the number 59 throughout history. Negro, slave, blues, Motown Records came out in 59. Miles Davis came out in 59. Miles Davis equals 59. Berry Gordy, Gordy's a 33 word. The numbers, the signs. So this is how 59 and 42 connect, Truth Seeker. 5 and 9 equal 42. All throughout history, this number's been stamped on black men. Think about how Jackie Robinson wore 42. Look at the gematria of nigger, and look how 59 is coded twice. This is not a coincidence. This is the work of the madmen, the Zionists, the Freemasons, who are behind this nation, behind this language. We live in a sick joke, and we all know it if we're awake. Freemason history and February all have gematria of 42. Only February has gematria of 42. That last day of February is the 59th day of the year, February 28th. Martin Luther King Jr. holidays in February. Look how Martin Luther King Jr. equals 228, just like United States of America. The only American to ever get a holiday named after him. All throughout history, things have been done to black men by the numbers is my point. This number coding is no joke, it is history. Martin Luther King Jr., the small way, equals 93. His last speech was on the 93rd day of the year. And look at what's on the screen, Truth Seeker. Cracker equals 59, just like Eminem. And look at the Jewish gematria of Eminem. 119, just like Star of David, just like All-Seeing Eye. This is who's got the nation on lockdown. This is who's causing the division and the racial animosity by the numbers. When I was 18, I was in a college bookstore, and there was a black guy in the bookstore holding up Eminem's album, saying any white person who buys this is a fucking moron. So I know how this stuff causes racial division. I've seen it all my life. It's all different races that contribute to the division from this programming. Divides people in all sorts of ways. Look at this. Lamar Odom spent $75,000 in the brothel. All negative programming. That's what this story is really about. I hope it is a hoax for Lamar's sake. I hope he finds my blog post, apologizes, and helps wake the world up too. Until next time, Truth Seeker.